What's up with this dude like rubbing your leg?
Dude, it's recovery.
Yeah. Yeah, it's recovery for sure, dude.
Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is the affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is the
What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest affiliate marketing news, tips, and trends. Again, I'm Josh from OfferVault.com, the industry's leading #1 aggregator of affiliate networks, affiliate offers, and everything affiliate marketing. We also have founder and CEO of Ringba, Adam Young, the #1 call tracking platform in the space. We have the industry legend and workout buff, workout guru, Harrison Gevirtz. Can't wait for you to see his backdrop today. And we also have our good friend Jake Kauffman, formerly founder and CEO of Express Revenue. What is up, Jake? How we doing today?
Good, good. How you guys doing today?
Doing good,
You're
man.
not
Were
going to
you?
finish the rest of Jake's intro?
What is the rest of Jake's intro?
Poker
It says-
pro,
It says right
retiree.
here in the notepad. Former CEO of Express Revenue, now unemployed, rich internet degenerate.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, no, I figured I'd leave that part out.
They know him by name at the Hard Rock Hollywood. He's the shit. I don't know.
Trying to get my poker game going. That is true.
Jake, where are you at today?
I am in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Yeah, you're in Fort Lauderdale. Harrison's in Miami. I'm trying to catch the vibes here with my little shirt.
Yeah, we got
I'll send you a
Harrison down
tank
here.
top, Josh. Then you'll vibe up.
No, Harrison, please don't send me a tank top. I'm all good on your tank tops. Adam, I'm going to pass this off to you. I know there's some changes in the CMS regulations and implications on our industry. Can you fill us in on what's going on with that?
Yeah, so not too long ago, CMS, which is the regulatory body for Medicare marketing, put out some new regulations that affect our industry, and there's been a lot of commotion about these things. And it looks like, and these aren't final yet, I don't think they're adopted, but it looks like they are likely to go forward with the 48-hour cool-off period after speaking to someone about Medicare on an outbound phone call. And this is something I just wanted to highlight because it's really important for our industry and also very exciting for Ringba customers because after listening to a whole bunch of earnings calls from health insurance carriers, brokers, other players in the space, it's become clear to me that there is a consensus, and it seems to be, again, this is just my opinion based on observation of going to all these calls, but it seems to be that there is 100% consensus that inbound calls will not be guided by this 48-hour cool-off period, which means that marketers who are generating a consumer-initiated inbound call for Medicare, whoever they're sending the call to is not subject to this 48-hour cool-off period after they speak to the consumer. So this is going to change the landscape quite a bit for companies that are in lead generation and do warm transfers, get leads and then dial on those leads, for instance. But for companies that are dealing with consumer-initiated inbound calls, this is an extremely exciting regulatory change in Medicare. And it's exciting for a couple reasons. One, I'm super, super biased as the CEO of Ringba and very excited that outbound is going away and inbound is just the way. But also, I think this is amazing for consumers because we all get just an absolute massive amount of phone calls to our phones. And so the days of a consumer going to a website, filling out a form, and then getting hit with 25 phone calls within the next 15 minutes, and then their phone never stopping ringing, are going to be days of the are going to be behind us. And so this is super exciting for consumers. It's super exciting for marketers who are involved in generating consumer-initiated inbound calls. And it's super exciting for the pay-per-call space. And we should see an immense amount of growth as people migrate away from things like click feeds and certainly from lead generation and the selling of leads. Because look, man, if you got to dial on a lead, sell someone who's elderly a Medicare policy, and then let them know, hey, you can't buy this right now, but I promise I'll call you back in 2 days to finish the transaction. The conversion rate on that is going to be absolutely atrocious. So I see the lead generation segment of this just sort of going by the wayside and tapering off, maybe even mostly disappearing. And then we'll probably see just a massive amount of consumer-initiated inbound calls going forward, and probably a lot of people coming from the lead gen side into the inbound pay-per-call side to learn about the industry and preserve their business.
Jake, I know you've been in the lead gen space for quite a while now, and I know that you have had a relationship with Harrison and Adam for quite some time. So I'm curious, when did you meet both of them? Was it together, separately, and what were your first impressions of these two guys?
Yeah, so it was definitely separately. Harrison, we've known each other since we were like 15 years old in the industry, going way back.
We used to talk on AIM back in the days.
Yeah, AIM, went through AIM to
Jake, were you also wearing gold chains and pink scarves?
I was not. No. Unfortunately, I am not.
I've gone to white gold at least.
Yeah, you got some class now. So 15 years old, chatting on AIM. How did you guys did you guys come into the space together? Did you guys just happen to fall into the space together, and that's kind of how you became close?
So the way I recall, I mean, basically there was like a little tight group of 15, 16
children.
Yeah, just people that age doing our thing. So we kind of just stuck together and chatted all the time, whether it be in the daytime or like 2 a.m. in the morning, just finding our next thing. And, we all kind of got on AIM together, then moved to Skype, video calls, and it's kind of developed.
Dude, there was a time when our group calls were on phones, like conference calls, like telephones. Like
had a like
it would be like there was like 4 to 5 people on this call. We'd have like a group going, like I'd call someone, 3-way call someone in, merge it. Jake would call someone, 3-way call it in.
Exactly.
We'd have like 6 children just talking shit about the internet while our parents were like, come to dinner.
Harrison, what was your AIM handle?
Well, it was Harrison for a while.
Just Harrison?
Yes, it was. Right. It was Harry. It was.
Okay.
It was also Roll, ROLE. But I had Harrison for a good amount of time, which was pretty cool. I remember Jake, I believe, was it Flyersman 67?
Yeah, it was one of them. That's right.
And then it was just Express Revenue, I believe.
Right, correct.
Yeah. So Jake,
honestly, AIM was way better than Skype, and
I liked AIM a lot.
Way better.
Like, not even questionable. It's sad that they turned that shit off, because that was.
I remember there was a guy in the industry. This must have been like 2015, 14 stuff, right when AIM was still existing. But I was talking to him on AIM, and he told me, it's like, I only log on to AIM just to talk to you. Like, I didn't want to move. I didn't want to move to Skype.
So what were your impressions of Harrison, though? You're like, this kid knows his stuff. I'm going to stick close to him.
Yeah, no, it was like, all right. So
Jake, let's be honest. I was pretty aggressive, and I did snipe an advertiser once.
That is true.
I was pretty much a shark motherfucker.
I had to be careful. Yeah, no, there's so I didn't really like advertising, I guess, my age out there. I didn't know how people would think, like, oh, work with a 15-year-old. Harrison had no problem. I remember I had a really good advertiser once, and the next thing I know, Harrison's on a flight to Florida.
I was on my way to Naples to go meet Todd. I remember.
Yeah. Like, well,
there's a reason for this. I'm just going to say it. This is a long time ago. This gentleman didn't really understand the continuity, rebuild marketing, Nutra space, and he owned a manufacturing company, and he was like, hey, I'll pay you guys $100 on free trial for like our acai berry or whatever. And then Jake was just killing me, paying like 60. I'm like, this fucking guy. So me and Laydell, Adam, I got on a plane. We rented a car. We drove to Naples. I met this guy. toured his warehouse. The problem, and the guy, Jake will agree, the guy just didn't know what he was doing. Like, we couldn't get the shit to track. His landing pages were like made with like a pen and paper. Like, you took a legal pad and called it a landing page. Like, it was just, it didn't work out. Yes.
Hold on a second. I want to clarify for the listeners here, and I think I have this correct, but the reason Harrison had someone with him was because that person was old enough to rent a car and drive you at that period of time. Like, this was pre-Uber. You had to arrange transportation with an adult.
I had adult supervision. I couldn't check into a hotel as well. I remember like being like trying to check into places. Jake, you ever have the issue where they're like, well, it's 21 plus, and you're like, fuck, well, can't you just lock the minibar? Because
no, there's issues back then.
Very few people can relate to the troubles that I've dealt with, and I know Jake is one of them that has dealt with.
I used to have
bullshit.
a file on my computer. It was called like dad credit cards. Like, I just those were the only credit cards I could basically use at the time.
You know what I was stressing about then? My Spanish exam coming up. Not the same shit, that's for sure.
You know, in 8th grade, I did Spanish, and I had my mom do all of it because she speaks fluent Spanish. And then I walked into school one day, and the teacher goes, "Come here," and she goes, "Your mom did all of this. You are not." Because she knew my mom was a fucking Spanish tutor, whatever. And I failed Spanish in 8th grade. Sorry.
Shout out moms. Jake, tell us about Adam Young. When did you meet Adam?
So Adam I met a little bit later. I'd say maybe like 4 or 5 years ago at a trade show. This is when Ringba was going and going hot, sponsoring all the shows.
Exactly the same as right now?
No, Ringba was like in the incubator at this point. We were like a chick that has.
Oh, he said Ringba was hot and sponsoring shows.
I mean, it came hot out the gate from as far as I remember. But yeah, no, we met at a trade show. I can't remember if it was an international one. It might have been, or a domestic.
Oh, was it Bangkok where you were like, I was like, come hang out, and then you had never met Adam. I think
that's when it was, right?
Centaura Lounge Breakfast, probably.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
Centaura's got a great breakfast.
Yeah,
love that
great
buffet.
Breakfast spread.
Great buffet. So you met him at the show. You're like, this guy's going places.
Yeah, no, it kind of opened my eyes because I didn't really know what Harrison was doing at the time. And kind of introduced me to Ringba and Adam. I was like, okay, no, this is really cool. And I guess that was kind of the first steps when I was like, okay, paper call, like, I need to start paying attention to this.
Yeah, well, let's back it up even further here. I know how much Adam loves a good origin story, but how did you get started in this space? And then more importantly, like, what was it like starting your own network? What were some of the challenges associated with that? And I know, like you said, you got started at a young age. So what was that like at such a young age for most of the people watching? I'm sure that's not what they were doing.
Yeah. So I must have been 12 years old in 2005. And I asked my dad for an iPod for Hanukkah. And thankfully he said no. So I Googled, how do I get a free iPod? And, found
Thank you for the $1.50.
Yep. Got funneled to a website called freeiPodguide.com. And actually went through it and was like, oh, okay, like people were posting proof, like this thing may work. Basically, you sign up to like Blockbuster. That's how long ago it was. Blockbuster, like $9.99 trial. Maybe refer a few friends to sign up to Blockbuster or a book club or Disney Movie Club, Columbia Record House, stuff like that. And after a certain amount of referrals, they would send you an iPod. And I did that, and I got an iPod, and then I got a Plasma, then a PlayStation, and gift cards and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I was like, how are they doing this? Like, how can they do this? And then I just kind of researched and was like, oh, they get paid from these things called affiliate networks when people sign up to these offers, and they make money and they buy the gift. So I started a website just like that called yourgivesfree.com, which is like my first real business, which was really fun back in the day. The incentive industry was totally different than it is now.
What kind of numbers were you doing back then?
We shipped out like $600,000 in free gifts with Your Gifts Free. I probably ran that from like '07 to end of '09 or something like that, or '08. And it was cool. I mean, it was fun. There was a community. Like this is like when campaigns like Blockbuster, Video Professor, and like I said, Columbia Record House, like Zumba Book Club or something like that. They were all the popular ones. Like Gate.com web hosting, Earthlink, stuff
The free
like
coffee shit, the Javalia.
Yeah, something with a B or J. Yeah.
What was the
coffee
record
clubs.
The record Columbia House was a big
Columbia
one.
House. Yeah.
Where have you
And
been, Harrison? He dropped Columbia House twice already. Come on, bro.
I remember
was the
Netflix
best
came
one.
late. Netflix ended up towards the end, but it took like a week to give you a credit, and it was like, oh, that sucks. Blockbuster was great. They paid a lot. But yeah, eventually made a yourgivesfree.com, and I did made my own incentive site. And then I was like, oh, I have like really good campaigns here for my incentive site. Not a lot of the other incentive sites have this. Like, why don't I just make an affiliate network and give it to the other incentive sites to put these offers on their website? So that's kind of the birth of my affiliate network, Express Revenue. It started off as an incentive-based affiliate network because I had access to some good campaigns. And I started giving offers to all these incentive sites that existed or were starting to pop up. And that was the birth of Express Revenue. And eventually that, evolved further into meeting Harrison and other people my age. And I was like, oh, there's such a non-incentive side of the affiliate industry. And like, let me learn about that. And that was also when incentives started changing like greatly. Like Value Click was like, we're not taking incentive anymore. ClickBooth said that too.
Let's talk about the start of the network real quick, since we're at that point in the story here.
Yeah.
Did you find you were a pretty good manager of people before you started the network, or did you find like once you started hiring people, it was kind of like trial by fire, and it really kind of taught you quick like how to run an organization?
Yeah, everything was a learning process, especially starting at a young age. I think definitely as I had to get like employees for Your Gifts Free, like customer service or like account review process, kind of realized, okay, like I can't wear every single hat here. It makes sense to have some people help you out, free up your time to do more important things or different things. That's why it allowed me to go from Your Gifts Free to Express Revenue.
Did you ever hire people way above your age, and was that ever challenging for you?
I have, yeah. I think my first customer service rep at Your Gifts Free was like this 50-year-old mother who was extremely nice. And it was challenging at first because I was nervous. I was young and I didn't know if people would want to work with a young person. So it was a little nerve wracking. And then, with Express Revenue, we hired someone a little bit older than me. I'd say in their mid-20s, had to like mail them off a cell phone to do business on. This is way back in the day, like 2008. And you kind of live and you learn, and definitely learned at a young age having a good team is important.
Any of the biggest like challenges you found when you were opening that up?
Mainly the age thing, because again, I didn't want to be like, hey, like let's do tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in business. And by the way, I'm 15. I'll talk to you at 2:30 when I get home from school. So like that was a little nerve wracking. A lot
you just
of
gotta
times
get a sidekick too, so you can aim.
It was the Palm Trio actually that I used. In
school.
You
had the Trio 650. Very nice. You went business.
Had Windows on it. Yeah, my business teacher actually let me use it in class because he knew I was doing business as opposed to like all the other students, which was kind of funny.
I was so aggressive with cell phones in high school that I had 3. So they would just take one and I would laugh and be like, I have 2 more. And they would be like, This kid's an asshole, and I was an asshole.
Jake,
Still
on the
am.
flip side, you said it was your age when you were first getting started. I know you're moving on to greener pastures now at this point in your career and life, but what were some of the biggest challenges at the end of your time at Express Revenue? Because I feel like it's very interesting if you can compare both one to the other, because I'm sure it's not the same.
I mean, you're always learning. You can never know enough. I'd say as you run any type of business, that you got to be open-minded to maybe there's a better way to do it. Maybe you can get them add on to your team to free up your time and help you. But it's always just staying open-minded and
See, I was going to say
that you know everything.
I was going to say the biggest challenge at the end was probably not calling the club early enough to get your table reserved.
Yeah, no, those were fun when we did those tables at this trade shows, and it's
the rumor is Harrison moved to Miami just because he wants to be closer to the club scene. I don't know if you're aware of this, but he's starting to become a regular at clubs now. And,
they know me by name now.
Really?
I think he's trying to catch up to
expense
you.
reports to corroborate this. They're denied, of course, but he tries.
I'll have to see
I
firsthand
have
for
not
myself.
tried to put any nightlife activities on the card, actually. For the record, I
Jake.
have become more social here, though. That is true.
Were the nights out at industry events for you really more about team building, or really more about just kind of saying, all right, work hard, play hard? Like, what, as the guy behind, pulling the strings, what were your thoughts on like the nights out and stuff like that?
To me, it was team building and new business. For example, like our team works and they worked hard every day of the week, weekends as well. When they come to these trade shows, they stand on their feet from 9 to 5 or whatever it is, constantly talking to new people, meeting with clients. They do this and they do it again the next day. And then maybe someone wants to meet with them right after the show or something like that. So we always said, all right, let's build up our steam and now let's blow off our steam. Give them some fun, have fun together, all bond. And then, you invite some clients on, prospective clients on. They all talk with each other, with the team members, and, maybe it makes some new business, maybe it doesn't. But most importantly, everyone's just having a good time after working hard.
I think that business can be developed at these events. You just need to bring earplugs first and foremost. But like literally, people want to hang out with you outside of a business environment, and if they see that you're willing to do that, it definitely develops a personal rapport that can be beneficial in the future too.
Adam, you're a big club guy, right?
Yeah, why do I feel like Harrison's comments were a personal attack?
No, it was not a personal attack.
No, in all seriousness, Jake was one of the first people I met.
Hold on.
Oh,
Josh.
cool.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me give an opposing view on this a little bit. I think it's great that Harrison goes out. Jake has definitely thrown some parties that I have declined to attend. And for me, it's a little different. When we go to a major trade show, we'll have at this point 15, 16, 17, 20 people there. And I don't have a problem at all with our team members going out. Some of them do it, some of them don't. Some of them party a little bit. All of these things are fine, but we have a pretty strict brand representation and family-friendly policy, regardless of my language on this podcast. And it's important to us that we lead by example. And so I try my best to do the least amount of partying possible, not so much because I'm opposed to it, but because I want to hold myself to a really, really high standard so that our team understands that these policies are true and they'll be enforced. And I do trust them to go out and have a good time and represent us well. But I try to get a good night's sleep and be a good leader in the morning. Also, I think I might be the oldest person on our trade show team. Maybe one person is older, and so maybe Maybe I just can't handle it. I don't know.
To me, those sounded like fighting words, Jake. Like you don't want to lead by example, or you don't like think it's a bad idea. Do you want a rebuttal to that?
So
He's an
I'm
incentive guy for Christ's sakes.
That's mean.
was the incentive guy, but no, I'm 30 now. Clubs aren't as appealing to me as they were maybe when I was 24, 25. Um, but I think overall at the time it was a net positive. Definitely, drummed up some business, and team got closer. But like I said, I'm a little older now. And I'm definitely not the first one jumping to go out right now. I'm tired. My body hurts.
Dude, just wait till you get to 33.
I've been in Miami 10 days. My body does hurt too.
Welcome to Florida.
Real quick, Harrison, speaking of Miami, what was it like going to the F1 event? Now, I know you didn't go to the actual race, right? But you did go to the
I was qualifiers. Yes, it was
qualifiers.
fun.
Yeah.
I will say one highlight was I was in this little like lounge area and I wanted to sit down and there was a table and it was like reserved for someone, but there was no one there. So I sat down and I realized I was sitting at the ex-president of Argentina's table. I was like, well, I could just say it's my dad. And that's true.
Yeah.
So
start speaking a
definitely
little
highbrow group for sure. But it was fun, loud. Another place like a nightclub. Bring earplugs, you'll be fine.
Did you get the $275 nachos?
Dude, food was included and actually pretty good.
What about from a marketing perspective?
No nachos, though.
I mean, the F1's like one of the most popular sporting leagues, if you want to call it that, in the world right now. So actually going to an event, was there like anything you saw that kind of triggered your marketing brain?
I can't quite understand this. Like, I don't really, these teams cost hundreds of millions of dollars. I think it's more of an ego contest versus actual marketing. Like, I don't really think Oracle gets a lot out of Larry Ellison's investment into his team, where he spends like $300 million a year to run an F1 team. But I think it's more of like, I'm rich, bitch, so I can. The marketing is everywhere though. Like, it is logos galore. You're definitely getting more than 7 impressions. I would say this, although it's a little expensive, you probably get more impressions with an F1 sponsorship than a lanyard sponsorship, but I'm going to just stay obsessed over the lanyard sponsorships for now.
So, Jake, I want to turn things around back to pay-per-call. It's pretty obvious, especially to me on this podcast, that the industry is kind of heading in that direction, even more so than it already has been. So I'm curious, with your future, business endeavors and next projects, do you plan on incorporating pay-per-call into those plans, or has pay-per-call always been incorporated into your plans in some way?
Yeah, no, I definitely would say that's the way I want to go, towards the pay-per-call arena. And it's, kind of all about adapting to the industry and the demand and how things are changing. Like I said, I started off incentive from 05 to 08-ish industry change. I kind of learned about the whole non-incentive side of the industry. Hopped on some of the waves of different e-com products in between. And lead gen picked up as well. And now what I've noticed over the past couple of years is pay-per-call growing tremendously. And it's definitely an area that I think whatever I do next, whenever that is, I definitely want to incorporate it. I think it's still the future, and I'm pretty excited about it, actually.
But he's got a good, he's not rushing. He's busy with poker.
Yeah, you keep mentioning poker, so why don't we talk about it, Jake?
So
if you want.
I'll just say
Are you a legit poker player?
I've made phone calls to Jake where I'm like, "What's up, bro?" And he we had this dinner with like a bunch of there was a good group of Ringba clients, and my closest friends here in Miami get together, and I invite Jake, and he texts me the day before, and he's like, "I'm in so and so tournament. I'm placing whatever it. I might not be able to come if I win," and I'm like, you were in a tournament like a month ago, dude, and 2 months ago. So he's a poker pro. Don't let him bluff your ass, because he will.
That was a nice pun. Great fun. Yeah, I've always enjoyed Texas Hold'em, but I've had some free time over the last few months. That specific tournament was a WPT main event tournament. It was actually my best like finish.
Where'd you
the
finish?
Out of like 2,300 people in the main event, I got 95th, which I'm not
Wow.
happy about. I think I could have done better, but yeah, like first in that one got like WPT trophy and like 1.1 million. And if I had missed Adam's dinner, it would have mean I was top 16. So, or I'm sorry, Harrison's dinner. So I was kind of hoping I had to miss it, but also I'm glad I made it. But yeah, no, I've been playing a lot of poker recently. It's fun. It's, it's a mind game too. There's definitely some luck, but
So going back to pay per call, because this is a marketing show, guys. You said that you see it as the future. I'm wondering, what are like the key metrics that are making you feel that way? Like, why do you think pay per call is only going to continue to get bigger?
yeah. So I mean, I personally have seen people transition from standard lead gen, whether it be like host and post, or on a ping tree, or go to this page and fill out 8 form fields and get paid for a lead. I've seen a lot of those guys move over to pay per call where they're sending in inbounds, collecting their own data. Some are doing live transfers. So I mean, I've seen it with my own eyes. A lot of uh, move over there. I've seen campaigns online, just on general ad networks, a little more pay per call focused. Ringba's done a good job at kind of teaching people the benefits of it as well. Um, I mean, I feel like I've always had a good eye for what's coming next or what's working well in the industry, and pay per call is just one that I've seen just continually get more exposure and rise up.
Sticking on the pay per call topic, I do have a note here that says you ran an inbound call center in college, which was mainly employed by your friends at the time. I would love to hear about that. So, how did you set that up? Was it mainly employed by your friends? Did that turn out to be like a mistake in the long run? Just kind of the ins and out of that process and what you learned along the way.
Yeah, so that was a fun time. Like I said, I also sold various products online, a lot of different products, e-com stuff, be it drones, trackers, etc. And we needed to do customer support, and I like to have control over most aspects of my business, uh, especially the customer service, so you can kind of know what's being said, how it's being said, etc. So I opened a first small call center at college, hired a couple friends in my fraternity actually, and eventually we had like 30 people on the floor at once. But the real challenge was everyone had a different class schedule, so like how to navigate through that was kind of tough. Like this person could only work 9 to 12, could come back 2 to 5. So like we would have like 80 employees, but actually only 30 worked at the same time because there were a lot of shifts. However, what I will say is I think if someone is opening a call center, and they could deal with the scheduling, I think a college town and college students are a great fit for it because, it's not the highest pay, obviously, a call center or customer service, but you're getting like future doctors, future lawyers, future businessmen, future entrepreneurs. Um, and I think the quality of work that you get from that would be greater than your typical, same salaried person that works an inbound customer service job. So I did really like that, and something I've kept in mind, if I ever do something like that in the future.
Did you run into any issues like with the college friends being your workforce? And I only asked that because when I was in college, I attempted to run my own painting business here in Cleveland, Ohio, and I hired my friends, some of my friends, and it turned out to be a huge mistake. Did not work out.
Yeah.
I was not properly equipped with the tools for management at that time, let alone my friends who weren't really down to have their friend tell them what to do. Long story short, project ended early for me there, but it was a great learning experience nonetheless. So did you run into any issues like that, or were you very careful about who you picked to work with you?
I was pretty careful. I'd say overall, there weren't many issues. Like, like I said, we had like in the end 80 people working and a word of mouth spread. And I mean, I was friends with a handful of them who, eventually they started early and transitioned to managerial roles. And the only real issues I would have is like, and at the time I wanted to set an example too. I mean, it's college. Like, yeah, you go out and have fun at night, but if I'm going out at night having fun, I'll show up at the office 9 a.m. the next day because I know some of my employees are going out too. So I'd see some employees out, enjoy their company out, and then in the morning I'd get a text like, "Hey, like I'm not feeling well, I can't really make it." So like those were the main issues sometimes. Like, okay, like I saw you 8 hours ago, everything seemed fine. But I would try and show up on those days early to the office to kind of show like, hey, like, there's a respect level and we can go out and have fun, but we also do have a job here to do. There weren't too many issues, I'd say.
Adam, I know you don't really have many friends, but have you ever had an issue like that?
That was great. That was a little cold, but I loved it.
Ice in those veins, Josh. I had friends at one point, actually, but then I started a business and hired all of them. And it didn't go very well. And then I didn't have those friends anymore. And so I would say if you're a new entrepreneur and your only option is to hire your friends, you can do it. But they might not be your friends that much longer. Similar to what Jake said, right? They don't generally want to follow your direction, or if you're trying to level up and be a leader and they're not expectant to that and they're used to your normal behavior, they might not really want to follow you into battle, so to speak. And so in my case, I lost everything I had, moved back into my parents' basement for the second time. That was the second time. And unfortunately, I moved back into that basement with no friends. I mean, at that point, Josh, I just decided I didn't need those anymore. But for anyone else that has them and is going to start a business, it's important to have boundaries and expectations. But I was 19, so.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. What's that? Oh, Adam, it's your birthday today? What? Happy birthday, Adam.
Happy birthday,
Thanks,
Adam.
Happy birthday, Adam.
Birthday, Doc.
Woo. Anyways.
Wow.
Last year when he blew out the candles, what's your wish? He said to record a podcast next year on my birthday.
You could thank Harrison for that one. He messaged me and said we should mind fuck him and say happy birthday. So
And so the
Harrison.
best you could do was an on-demand sound effect. You didn't even YouTube something for like
Yeah,
Harrison's
well,
club
That was
announcement.
pretty disappointing.
The last time I had it lined up, I was just trying to think on the spot. Whoop. Jake, we got one more question for you today.
Sure.
I want to know what's next for you, right? I mean, I'm assuming this is the first time in a long time that you've had some time to actually reflect, think about your future with, not other engagements outside of winning tournaments in the WPT. But what do you want to do next in your 30s, your 40s? Where do you see yourself focusing your efforts? Are you staying in the internet marketing space? Are you going to walk away from it and do something else, try something new?
Yeah, so definitely have had time to think. Didn't want to rush anything. I'm proud of what we've done so far and what I built out Express Revenue. As a goal of mine to make like the Inc. 500 list, and was able to do that. Had an exit in the end, and for my next venture, I've decided that I don't want to rush anything. I don't want to just sit up at night and be like, what is it? I want to let it come naturally. I want to build something big, whether it is in this industry or not. I do love this industry. I have a lot of friends in the industry. It's a fun industry. I know it well. So I think it will be within this industry. But I guess, we kind of talked earlier about pay-per-call related perhaps. But yeah, I am excited. Something's next. I am not, I'm not done. I'm not retired. I guess you can say I'm unemployed. But I don't can't say for sure what is next, but I can, promise that something is next. And when it comes, and when it starts, I want it to be important and put out a lot.
What's a typical day like these days? When do you wake up? Like 11:30?
No, I've moved to the 9-ish to 10 hour. But
Wow.
I'm like you. I like to go to the gym, but a lot later than you do. I like to play poker. I do all my wife's errands for whatever she asks me to do. And just kind of go from there. Nothing really set. Definitely enjoying the relaxation time, but honestly, my wife does like to tell me what to do for in terms of errands. She's like, you have all this time. She's working. She's gonna watch us.
Find Jake on Postmates, everybody.
She's working.
Wow.
She works hard. I'll tell you that. So
My dude's got no fear. Okay.
It's more of that because she works really hard. At her job. So.
Oh, now he's backpedaling real hard. Okay.
Yeah.
So
hard worker.
I'm the one that's going to help take care of the house while she's doing that. So
has the time off? I don't want to call it time off, but has the more freedom that you've had recently had a drastic impact in terms of the improvement of your quality of life? Have you gotten to have more family time with your wife, and would you say it's changed your mental wellness in a way?
I'd say so. I definitely would say it has been, a net positive in terms of quality time, mental wellness, like you said. But I do miss the grind of running a business and being an entrepreneur and, dealing with that issue at 11 p.m. or 10:30 on a Sunday, whatever it is, because that's what I've known my whole life. So while I am enjoying time off, I definitely miss those aspects of it. I really like that a lot. And just kind of makes me want to get back to it eventually and not stay, like this forever.
Well, I want to speak for everybody here. Jake, thank you so much for coming on the Affiliate Marketing Show. For Josh from OfferVault.com, Harrison Gevirtz, the industry legend, Adam Young, the founder and CEO of Ringba, as well as Jake Kauffman, the formerly founder and CEO of Express Revenue. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you next time, everybody.
Marketing